Hi, Jeanette. It's 9:57. I am live and I'm just starting a little early to let people get into the room. So if you can see me and hear me, say hello. Hi, Kim. Hi, Gina. Hi, Stephanie. Oh, Stephanie's getting right to it. What food processor would you recommend? I have a Cuisinart. That's the only one I've ever used, and I really like it. I'm going to be using it today, so that's it. It's a 14 cup. Right, yeah, last week I got started a little bit late, so I wanted to start a little early this time just to make sure everyone could start with me on time. So if you've just joined, feel free to comment if you like, say hello, let me know you're there. Hello from Milwaukee, so excited, me too, me too. So I'll just wait a couple more minutes till more people get in the room, but I have everything set up and ready to go, and then we'll get right to it. I'm watching your guys' comments here on my laptop. Hi from Philly. All right. Tuning in from Maryland. Thank you for telling me where you're at. That's nice to know. I'm in Glen Ellen, California. Croatia? Wow. Thank you. Love your cookbook. Thank you. I should probably set my cookbook up while I have it here and while I'm waiting. There it is. BC, Canada. I love BC, Canada. Hi, Terry. Hi, Jen. From Nanda, from Austin, Texas, a place I've never been, but I hear is wonderful. I'd like to go there. Hi, Jen. Hi, Michelle. I know I have a lot of fans in Canada. So thank you, Canadians. Rainy South Carolina. Okay. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Desiree. Hi, Lori. Chattanooga. Hi, Kim. Hi, Christina. New York City. I love New York City. Ellensburg, Washington. Hi, Willow. Oh, there's Avery. Hi, Avery. Straight up food video is inverted. What does that mean? Dawn Foreman from Petaluma, right next door. Hi, Wendy from Toledo. Letters are reading backwards. Oh boy. I don't know what that means. Can everybody see me okay? Some weird comments are coming in. I don't know why. Facebook does the inversion some days, other days it's fine. So is that a problem? Oh, is there anything I can do to fix that? The book is upside down? Oh, it will be okay. Oh, okay. It's just the type on the front of your cookbook. Okay. The cookbook. Okay, so things are just flipped, I guess. But that happens. I've seen that a lot on videos, but it should still work fine. Okay. I think there's a way I can flip it, okay, on my phone, but I will not deal with that right now because I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, it's like looking into the mirror. Yeah, I seem to remember I'm videotaping on my iPhone that there's something you can do to flip it, but I'm not sure what that is. So I'm gonna not mess with that right now. It's 10:03. Lots of people are ready to go here. Your left is all right. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is only my second video. Last week I had Chef AJ hosting and moderating. This week it's just me, and so I'm learning every time I do this and getting better equipment, figuring out my lighting. Today I have my iPhone that I'm filming on, and then I have my laptop right here that is sitting on the cat tree. I don't know if you can tell that, but we'll see how it works out and make adjustments as we go. So I think what I'm going to do today is I'm making two recipes. I'm making falafel, and then I'm going to make a cucumber dill sauce to go with it. And after I make the falafel, I will pop over here and just kind of look at some of the questions. I probably won't be able to get to all of them, but I'll look through. I don't want to keep going back and forth constantly. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay. So as I said, today I'm going to make falafel. And if you want to follow along with the recipe, they're on my blog, straightupfood.com, or the previous post on my Facebook page has the links to those if you want to go follow along with the recipe. I've printed out the recipes here just so I can tell you the amounts, because last time I did this, people were asking for the amounts, and I don't have them all memorized. So I've got that here to help me out. Both of these recipes are in my book, which is probably flipped for you, the Straight Up Food Cookbook. So check that out on Amazon or on my website, wherever you like. Okay. So, and if I don't get to your questions during the live broadcast, I will go in afterwards and answer your questions on Facebook. And the replay of this, you're watching this now, so you probably don't need to know about the replay, but it'll be on YouTube and Facebook. All right. So falafel, we're going to start with that first, since it has to go in the oven and cook. And this is kind of like a little burger patty, but it's based on garbanzo beans here. So this is a super easy recipe. These are all the ingredients right here. I have them all ready to go. There wasn't a lot of chopping really. I chopped some parsley and I chopped some greens over here. And we're just going to put everything into the food processor. This is a 14-cup Cuisinart food processor. I love the big food processors. I don't like the little ones. Sometimes you can get the big ones with the little ones inside. That's fine. But I usually recommend getting an 11 to 14 cup because sometimes you want to make a lot of volume. So what we're going to do is just put everything into the food processor bowl here. And we're going to start out with this stuff right here. So garbanzo beans are the base of this dish. This is just 1 can of garbanzo beans, and I've used the Westbury Natural Organic, no added salt garbanzo beans. You can make your garbanzo beans from scratch. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. but today I'm just using 1 can. If you don't have a can, it's about 1.5 cups. And so I'm going to put those in. This is about 1/2 cup of chopped onion. You can use any kind you want, red, white, yellow, doesn't really matter. And then the recipe calls for kale, 1.5 cups chopped kale. Today I'm using spinach because I overlooked getting the kale at the grocery store. So we're going to use some spinach instead. And you can use any kind of greens that you like. So I'm going to put all of this into the food processor here without making a big old mess. And you do want to drain and rinse your garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. All right, this is about 1 cup of roughly chopped parsley. The reason that I pre-chop it is just for measurement purposes, but you want about 1 cup. We're going to do 1/2 cup of just regular rolled oats. If you only had quick cooking, that's fine. People always want to know if they can use steel cut oats. I've never tried that with this. They're a lot coarser, so I'm thinking maybe not. But maybe the grinding of the food processor would make that work. I'm not sure. All right, so what else? We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can use bottled or frozen or fresh, doesn't really matter. And then we're going to put in our spices. So beans and oats, they're real flavor suckers. So we got to put in a lot of spices. So here I have 2 teaspoons of coriander and 1 teaspoon of paprika. And then here I have 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. And I think that's everything. Oh, no, one more thing. I'm going to put in 2 medium cloves of garlic. A clove of garlic, medium clove, is equal to about 1 teaspoon minced. And I'm going to be using garlic in both recipes, so I'm using my garlic chopper today. This is a little Tupperware garlic chopper that I absolutely love. It's got a little blade inside, and you just put your garlic cloves in there. I take the paper off of the outside of the garlic cloves. This was a gift from Chef AJ to me, and I just absolutely love it. So once you get all your cloves in there, you just give it a pull. Kind of like a toy, it's fun. The more you pull it, the more minced it will get. And I do have a little store on my website at straightupfood.com if you want to find this and my other favorite kitchen tools. All right. So we're going to measure out 1 teaspoon. And by the way, these are my favorite measuring spoons. They stick together. They're magnetic and I love them. So we're just going to do about 2 teaspoons here. And if you're a person that does not like garlic, by all means, leave it out. Adjust as needed. All right, so we have everything in here. We're going to put the lid on. And we're going to pulse it until it gets blended, but where you can still see little bits of like greens. Okay. And when it starts to stick together. So stop, maybe take your rubber spatula, scrape down the sides. It's still a little bit loose. I'm just going to give it a few more pulses here. That looks great. When you get that all done, put it into a bowl. It's easier to work with from the bowl. This is called an S-blade. You want to take that out and just scrape down the corners. So there it is, a nice tight dough. And now we're going to get our pan ready. I'm going to be using a baking sheet here. And I'm going to be lining it with some parchment paper. You can find this near the aluminum foil and the saran wrap. You can buy it in pre-cut sheets. I like the rolls because you can cut it to the length that you want. All right. So the reason I use parchment paper is so this won't stick to, the patties won't stick to the pan. In the old days, I'd put some oil or, I guess oil on the pan or on the baking sheet, but I don't use oil anymore, so I'm not going to do that. This can withstand very high heat and nothing sticks to it. It is generally not reusable. If you want a reusable type of thing, you can get a silicone mat like this. Either one works. Okay, let me move my food processor out of the way. All right. So just set that to the side. Now, generally falafel is formed into balls and deep fried. Again, oil, we don't do that. So instead, we're going to make little patties. The reason I don't leave them in balls is because the middle might not get cooked quite enough. You can use a scoop like this. We're going for about 1/4 of a cup per patty, or you can use a little measuring cup like this. If you want to be even. If you don't really care, you can just pick some up with your hands and eyeball it. Now mash them together. Because of the garbanzo beans, these are a little on the dry side, and that's the way they're made. That's the way we want them. So just make a ball like this and put it onto the baking sheet. And this recipe makes this amount, and the reason I did that is because it fits into my food processor nicely. If you have a bigger family, or you want to make some to freeze, you can double the recipe. Just do it in 2 different batches in your food processor. Because if you overload the food processor, you fill it up too much, it's not going to blend nicely and evenly. I'm making these on a little bit on the big side because I want to get through it. I guess I could be looking at my comments, but now my hands are dirty, so let me wait on that. Okay. So I used parsley in this. If you wanted to use cilantro, last week we had a lot of comments about how some people don't like cilantro. I find that fresh herbs are pretty interchangeable. If you don't like cilantro, or you didn't have parsley or something, feel free to use something else that you do like basil, tarragon. Okay. So I'm almost through this. This makes about 8, I'm thinking. Okay. Now you could eat these as your main dish, maybe with a salad and the sauce we're going to make. You can eat these as a side, like to a soup or a stew. These are great things to take with you if you're traveling. You can eat them cold, warm, doesn't matter. Taking hiking with you, because they're really filling. Okay. All right, so I came up with 7 balls. I made them a little on the big side. All right, so there they are. You can use your hand to press them down, or you can use a little piece of parchment paper so it doesn't stick to your hand. And you're going for about a half inch thickness here. Just like a little burger patty. And you can make little tiny patties too if you want. The cooking time will be the same. All right. Just chicken. These, I don't know if you can see it, but they do tend to kind of crack a little around the edges. So just take your fingers and smash them back in so they have more of a circular shape without the cracked edges. We are going to flip these halfway through baking, so it kind of helps keeping them together if we do this little step of just pressing them in. Okay. This is one of those dishes that you can take to an event, not that we're going to any events lately, but that everybody will love, and nobody will say, oh, I really miss that oil. No. These have such good flavor, and the sauce with them is just so amazing. Nobody is going to care that it doesn't have oil. And I find that that's the case most of the time. People don't mind if we substitute with dates instead of white sugar, if we don't do the oil or the eggs and the cookies or the cakes. Salt is the thing people will miss the most, but there's ways to get around that. Okay, so there they all are. I'm just going to put this in the oven. Set the timer for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back to those. All right, so pretty easy, right? Easy breezy. Okay, so let me check my comments here. We have a little breaky. Let me see. Got a lot of hellos. I've used a Vitamix to do coarse chopping. You just have to put it on low and use the tamper a lot. I'm sure someone could do it with some practice. Yeah, if you don't have a food processor, you could try it with your Vitamix, just going kind of slowly. Or you could just smash your garbanzo beans with a bean smasher or a fork and just kind of mix everything together with your hands. You could certainly do that. I'm just kind of jumping around here, seeing what's at the bottom. Oh, the oven is at 375, thank you. Let's see. Someone says, I learned about you from True North. Dr. Isabeau was my chiropractor for years. Yeah, I usually teach at True North on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. That's why I'm doing this on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. So the people at True North, the inpatient health center that I usually work at, can watch me. So if you're at True North, hello and welcome. How much spinach? I used about a cup and a half. Do I still put salt for other people who don't eat like this? No, I never add salt or soy sauce or miso or anything like that, because where I teach at True North, they are a no salt added place. So I've been teaching there for over 10 years, and that's the way I cook personally and at True North and in my cookbook. If you really wanted to add a little salt on top, that's up to you. One of the important things is we don't want to add salt into the food while it's cooking and then add it on top before we eat it, because that just ends up being too much salt. Okay. Steve Reichard, hello. Thank you for bearing with me, you guys. I'm not sure how this is going to work with me jumping over here to do the comments, but it seems to be working for now. What would I serve this with for a full meal? Like I said, I'd probably serve maybe 2 with some sauce and a salad per person. You could serve it with some soup or stew. Mashing by hand, you can do that. With cooking, there's so many ways to do things. It's truly amazing. And when I wrote my cookbook and when I create my recipes, that's the way I like it. If you're looking at it and you think, oh, I don't like cumin, or I'd like to do something different, or I like hot and spicy everything, go ahead and add some cayenne pepper, some red pepper flakes to those falafel patties. It is up to you. I'm just kind of your guide and your starting point. Let's see. I was thinking, I already saw that one. Okay, oh. I clicked something wrong here, okay. Anyway, are there any samples for us that are not fasting? No samples for anybody today except me. Bummer, but I'm gonna have a really good lunch. Okay, let me scroll up a bit. Good teacher. Thank you, Patty. I'm scrolling up to see any that I've missed. You could probably chop and then mash. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Moving soon. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop looking at comments for now. On that recipe. And let me get my next one ready. And as I said earlier, if I missed your comment, I'm going to look through them when this is done, and I can answer it on Facebook for you. All right, so let's switch gears, and after I do this one, I'll look at the comments again. So let's do our tzatziki sauce. This is a cucumber-dill sauce, and I'll get my ingredients for that here. I'm not going to use the food processor for this. I'm going to use my little blender, my little TriBest personal blender. This is in my store if you want to check it out. All right. So this is what I serve with falafel patties, but you could make this as a standalone salad dressing as well. You can serve it with cut up veggies. Or what's super, super good is to make this to put on top of your baked potatoes instead of sour cream. So good. All right. So the base for this is a creamy dressing. I do use raw unsalted cashews, which I already have in the blender with a 1/2 cup of water. If you can't eat cashews or you don't want to, you can use another type of seed or nut to give it that rich flavor. If you can't do seeds or nuts, or maybe you're trying to watch your calories and keep those down, you can use some cooked white beans, like navy beans or cannellini beans instead. It's still going to give you a nice creamy, rich, creamy dressing. It won't be as rich as nuts, but it can be done. All right, so those are the first 2 ingredients. And then we're going to add to that 2 tablespoons lemon juice, and then more of our garlic here, about 1 clove or 1 teaspoon garlic. Okay, now what I do is I blend this first, and then I add these last 2 ingredients. So let's go ahead and do that. This is a very low-tech machine, which is why I love it. It's just got a little notch right here, and you just line it up and press down. All right, so once that's nice and smooth, we're going to add the other things. So we're going to add some dill, about 2 tablespoons. This is one way to buy dill at the grocery store, or you can just buy a bunch, not in the plastic. So I've chopped it up a little bit just for the purpose of being able to measure. So that's about 2 tablespoons. And then this is 1 cup of chopped cucumber. You do want to peel the outside skin off of your cucumber for this. If I was making a salad or something, you could leave some of that on. But for this, I don't want all that dark green in here. I just want the center. And you want to leave all the middle and the seeds and everything. So this is where I try not to make a mess. Cucumbers are very wet, so this will work well for our dressing. All right, right to the top. So we're gonna blend this, not until it's completely smooth, but where we can still see some of the little green flecks of the dill, and we want some of those little chunks of cucumber remaining. So we wanna be careful we don't go too far. I mean, if you go too far, it's still gonna taste great. It's just, traditionally, if I recall, you want your little pieces of cucumber to be kind of chunky. All right. If you keep blending, it's going to turn completely green. Right now, it's a little bit of a light green. And take a look at it. If it's too thick, you can add a little bit of water and blend it a little bit more. But this looks actually really perfect. So let me get my dish here. Okay. So there it is. I'm not going to tilt it because it'll fall out, but maybe I'll take a picture when I'm all done. But it's a nice kind of chunky consistency. So anyway, if you wanted to get your thin spatula, I love this little thin spatula. You can get the rest out. All right. So how easy is that? Again, this just makes about a cup or so. If you have a bigger family, you want to make more, go ahead and double the recipe and do it in your Vitamix. Okay. All right, so let me just set that over here. Okay, let me check the old comments here. Looks amazing. About ½ cup of cashews, yes. I'm leaving comments and I'm not even doing it. This is great. I have a couple moderators helping me out. If switching out cannellini beans or sunflower seeds for the cashews, do we use the same amount as we would if using cashews? Having to be, oh, these keep moving. Having to be as fat-free as possible for a while. That's a great question. So if you do use cooked white beans instead of the cashews, you do want to use more because the cooked white beans already are saturated with some liquid. So instead of the ½ cup cashews, you're going to want to use like a 3/4 cup to 1 cup of the cooked beans. Could you please repeat the main ingredients in the falafel mix? The main ingredients are garbanzo beans, kale or some other kind of green, parsley, rolled oats, white onion, lemon juice, and then garlic and some spices. And that's on my blog, straightupfood.com, if you want to get the recipe. Thank you so much for sharing your recipes. You're welcome. Okay, ½ cup of cashews. 2 ounces of cashews, about a ½ cup. I made your blueberry and carrot cake muffins and they were delicious. Yay, I made carrot cake last week on my video and it's on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel if you want to see that. Okay, oh, someone posted the recipe. Oh, it's me. Yay, me. Do the patties kind of fall apart after cooking? They shouldn't. Yeah, did you post the recipes? They're on my Facebook page from this morning's post. If you want to see those, you're doing a great job. I have your book and plan to try the recipes today. Thank you, Bethany. Okay. My doctor checked my salt levels and said they were too low. She said I need salt in my diet. So very few people do need to add salt. It's very few people though, and you'll know because your doctor will tell you. So if that's you, then yes, add a little salt. Okay. Hi Jackie French. Is this the same recipe from your cookbook? Yes, these are both in the cookbook. Okay. Nice stove, beautiful yellow tiles. Yeah, this is such a cute little kitchen. This house was built in the 40s and it's got all these cute little touches everywhere. Do you prefer the TriBest blender to the NutriBullet? Do you know the difference? No, I don't know the difference. I've never had a NutriBullet. I've only ever had the TriBest as far as little blenders go, and I absolutely love it. This one has the plastic cup, which doesn't have BPA in it, but you can get glass if you prefer that. Okay, I might be caught up. I'm wondering if maybe there's something I can do to add to it to keep it from crumbling. I would say add a little bit less rolled oats if you're worried about crumbling. Okay. So I think we're doing good here. I do have a third recipe prepared just in case I had extra time, which I do. Oh, these are just about done. So let me flip the falafel here and I'll show you that. So these have been in for 15 minutes. So just get your spatula and flip them over. This is a nice silicone spatula. I used to get the cheapo plastic spatulas, but then they would melt at the end. So I got this good silicone one that has a tapered end, and I love it. It's great for pancakes, hash browns. So see, when I'm flipping these, I'm kind of being a little bit careful so they don't fall apart. All right, they look good. This one right here is a little bit falling apart, but that's okay. So what I was saying before is how after I smashed them down, I kind of took a minute to pack them all back into a circular shape. That's important so they don't fall apart. Okay, so I'm going to put these back into the oven. All right, so the third recipe I had prepared is hummus, which is really easy, but a lot of time people eat falafel, they have hummus with it, not tzatziki sauce. So I thought I'd show you how to do the hummus. And I think I'll use my food processor again. You see that? Hummus is great to know how to make if you don't already. It's just a great staple. Okay. And I'm going to use my same food processor bowl, and I'm not even going to wash it because I don't want to take the time. But it only had good stuff from the falafel in it, so that's okay. We're going to put our S blade back in there, and we're just going to put how many ingredients? 5 ingredients in. So again, 1 can of garbanzo beans. I use those same salt-free garbanzo beans, drained and rinsed. The only time I don't drain and rinse beans, and maybe even I do most of the time then, is when I'm adding them to a soup or stew and there's already going to be liquid there. But usually I like to drain that off for this. 2 tablespoons lemon juice. Lemon juice is very traditional for hummus. Cumin is also very traditional for hummus. More of the garlic, about 1 teaspoon. also, I'll show you since I have time, comes, well, it doesn't come with it, but it's an additional option if you want to get the onion chopper as well. It uses the same top as the garlic chopper, like this, and it's got a little pull thing here if you want to chop bigger things. So this is great. All right, what am I missing? Okay, and the last thing is some tahini, which is ground sesame seed paste. I'm using Artisana Organics raw tahini today. This is about $10, but it's worth it. I just use a little bit of it at a time. You want to get one that doesn't have oil added or anything funky. Let's see, raw organic sesame seeds, that's it. This is very traditional in hummus. Another thing that's very traditional in hummus is oil. So that is the thing that I leave out. And it's not needed because we have this for fat. And some people don't even add this. They'll just leave it out. You can add some zucchini in there if you want to keep it low cal. Let's see. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of tahini. And one thing I do is I run this under the water, or dip it in the water first, and then it makes the tahini come off the measuring spoon a little easier. I made a mess. This has been sitting out, so it's pretty soft. Okay, so we're just going to do two-ish tablespoons. You can do 1 tablespoon, you can do a teaspoon, whatever works for you. Okay. Move that out of the way. And that is it. So we'll put the top on. Stop, scrape down the sides at least once. Now if it looks like it's a little too dry, just add a little bit of water. Some people like their hummus really thin, some people like theirs with more texture and chunkier. Scoop it down again. This looks really good. Actually, I'm going to call that done. All right. And that is it. If you wanted to add some fresh herbs to this, that would be great. Sometimes people add some roasted red pepper. You can add your favorite hot and spicy thing. So this is kind of like a good blank canvas that you can make more exciting if you want to. But just plain old hummus like this is so great to have around. This is another thing that's great on baked potatoes instead of butter or sour cream or cheese. We get a lot of satisfaction just from the creaminess. Even if you left the tahini out, the fat, it would still taste so good because it's creamy. We love creamy things. Okay. So I've left mine a little bit on the textury side. But I do know people who use their Vitamix to make hummus and it's super nice and smooth. But I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of bumpy. You could garnish this with some chopped dill or green onion, a little black pepper. So this is great to have in the fridge for the week, just to use. I've even put it in my small blender and made salad dressing out of this, added a little bit more water. What else do I use it for? Some people use it as a sandwich spread. I don't do a lot of sandwiches because we don't do bread at True North. Because bread tends to be one of those things that we overeat on, and it usually has a lot of salt and sugar in it, so we just bypass the bread. All right, there's those two. And let me check on these falafel. Actually, let me check the comments while I'm just waiting for the falafel to finish up there. Stir it well. I place my nut seed butter in a square container. That way I can stir it well before each use. I don't really understand the square container part. I'd like to see a picture of that. Pesto hummus. Oh yeah. You put some basil in there for a little pesto hummus. That would be great. Add to salads as dressing. Spread on corn tortillas. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Oh, Cliff says that he doesn't rinse the chickpeas, that the aquafaba, which is the water around the chickpeas, makes it more creamier. So yep, you can do that too, especially if you make your chickpeas from scratch at home. Oh my gosh, that liquid is so tasty. Great job. Thanks for doing this. Thanks, Deb. I need lots of encouragement. Okay. 3/4 teaspoon of cumin. Thank you. I prefer my hummus really creamy. Yeah, everybody's different. Yeah, today I use spinach in the falafel instead of kale, but greens are very interchangeable. How long does tahini last in the jar in the refrigerator? I find that it lasts quite a while, maybe a couple months. I have both choppers. They are amazing. Yes, those Tupperware choppers are the best. If you know someone who cooks a lot, they would make a great gift. Why do you need to drain the beans? So that's a preference of mine. Okay, that's what I do. I would add the aquafaba to the falafel to help with the crumbling. Yeah, you could do that. Can you cook the patties, the falafel patties, in the air fryer? I believe so. I don't own an air fryer, but I would think so. Instead of refined salt and celery juice, add celery juice or powder to cooking. Yes. Yeah, celery is quite high in sodium naturally, so when you add celery, celery juice, dried celery powder, it adds a salty flavor. Another thing that, let me grab it right here, that I really like to replace salt just to shake on is this ground sumac berries. They're kind of lemony, salty, and it's just a type of berry that's been ground up. It's not white like salt, it's kind of red, but boy, is it good. So check that out online. This is from Savory Spice, ground sumac berries, if you are missing your salt. Okay. What is the spelling of the blender? Oh, Tribest, T-R-I-B-E-S-T. Yum, sumac, yeah, it's so good. Jeff says that draining and rinsing helps limit gas and our bloating from eating beans. Oh, okay. Hey, Dylan. Yay, live Kathy Fisher. Finally. All right. I love that you're doing video. I watched you with Chef AJ last week. I like how calm you are. That is the one adjective most used with me. You're so calm. Thank you. Okay. My mother's very calm. Okay. Everyone in my family is very calm. You should do more of these videos. Yeah, I don't know what my video schedule is going to be. I just committed for May, but I may do it again in June. Okay. Every time someone leaves a comment, it jumps. What about adding a little potassium salt for more salty taste? I don't know what potassium salt is. All right. Oh, well, speaking of salt, I mean, everybody's different. Some people are trying to reduce their salt. Some people just don't care. They're eating a whole foods diet and using all the salt they want. Some people are trying to eliminate salt entirely. So, you know, what I do is I entirely take out the salt. So it's a nice, clean foundation. Whatever you want to do on top of that is up to you. But things like the sumac berries are great. A salt-free blend. Here's an onion and garlic tableside sprinkle that has no salt in it. That's going to add a lot of flavor to your food. What does it have in it? White onion, roasted garlic, minced green onion. Doesn't that sound great? So I think we get really attached to salt without having tried other things, but you might like some of these things. All-purpose salt-free blend, which has just a ton of stuff in it. Citrus pepper seasoning, salt-free. It's got black pepper, garlic, orange peel, lemon peel, citric acid, onion, smoked Spanish sweet paprika. And you can find salt-free blends anywhere, but if you go to a spice shop online or in person, they usually have quite a few. And since a lot of people are trying to reduce their salt, they even have special salt-free. It says it right on there, salt-free. Renaissance Gardens, salt-free. Red bell pepper, toasted onion, tomato powder, shallots, celery flakes, minced green onion, black pepper, spinach flakes, spices. So that's a good one. And then last, we have a chimichurri dry marinade, salt-free. Tomato powder, red bell pepper, paprika, Aleppo chilies, arrowroot, garlic, parsley, cumin, green onions, bay leaves, Mexican oregano. So there's many options if you are not wanting to do salt. Okay. And just know that after a while of not having salt, your taste buds adjust and your brain follows, and it doesn't bug you for the salt as much. So, but if you still are doing moderation with your salt, it's harder to, your brain will still want it. So sometimes it's easier just to go without. Or I keep no salt at home, and when I go out to eat, which isn't very often, I just am assuming there's salt in the food. I don't add it when I go out to eat, but kind of save it up for that. All right, let me take out the falafel. All right, great timing. So there it is. They don't overly brown, but they are nice and done there. And I think 1 to 2 of these per person would be a great serving. Are these bigger than what you guys make? These are more like burger patties, but as I said, I was trying to move along, so I made them bigger. Didn't fall apart. So there they are. Pretty, 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 pretty. Okay. There's our hummus. There's our tzatziki sauce. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's about an hour. Okay. I'd make smaller too. Yeah. What is the bag where you keep the spices? Do you keep them in the refrigerator? No, I just keep them on the shelf. The bag. Everybody asks me about this bag. It is a very cute bag. It's a Thrive Kaiser Permanente bag, and my mom gave this to me. Maybe they sell it at the Kaiser gift shop, or they give it to people who have lots of like medications or something. I don't know, but it is awfully cute. I love that bag. Yeah, maybe go on the kp.org website and see if you can find that bag. Okay. Served with tabbouleh. Oh, that would be good. Garlic. Yeah. I quit salt cold turkey. It's only noticeable for about a week. I'm so glad I did. Someone pasted the recipe, thank you. Not eating salt, oil, and sugar has been great for me. Oh, and then the comment goes away. Okay. All right. What brand is the sumac berries? It's from Savory Spice. You can find them online. What kind of mustard did I put on my sweet potato? Here, let me grab it real quick. Because I have it here in the fridge. This is the mustard that I put on my sweet potato yesterday. It's a Westbury Natural salt-free mustard, stone ground. This is a little tricky to find in the stores, but you can order like 4 or 8 online at a time. That's what I do. Yeah, once you get used to adding herbs and spices, you don't miss the salt at all. Sumac is the tangy component in za'atar. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your video. Thank you. All right. What other recipes do I think I'll do a video on? I don't know. I kind of decide the day before. But if you have a request, feel free to email me. Kathy@straightupfood.com. Okay. Some recipes lend themselves better to demos than others. But yeah, if you have a request, feel free to email me. And I think that's it. And we did good on the comments. I think I saw most of them and replied to all the pertinent questions. So I will be doing another one of these next Tuesday, the 26th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So tune in for that. And I'm so glad this went well and nothing fell apart, fell over, froze, crashed. Yay. So I'm going to walk over here to my video camera so I can push stop. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. If you have additional questions, just comment and I will look at them when I'm done here. Okay? All right. Thank you guys. Bye.